Welcome to Lost Relation Chronicles.
The 12-hour flight to Thailand was wearing on me, and with another 12 hours to go, the cramped economy seat felt more like a torture chamber with every passing minute. Fatigue was setting in, but it was accompanied by a buzz of excitement. I was on my way to becoming an expatriate, or expat, as they're called in Thailand. 2 years after my divorce, I had finally cashed in my chips. I took my share of the house equity, half the savings, and a secret nest egg my ex-wife never knew about, and set course for the land of smiles, planning to settle there for good. With my resources, I could enjoy a comfortable retirement. Eventually, when I became eligible to tap into my 401k, I'd have even more financial freedom. My ex had tried to claim a share of that, but I reminded her that I had enough evidence of her infidelity to send to everyone we knew, including her parents. That was enough for her to back down. Sometimes I think about sending it anyway, just out of spite. My feelings for her have boiled down to pure hatred for the betrayal and destruction she brought into my life. In the end, the divorce was relatively smooth. We went with irreconcilable differences rather than adultery, though she deserved to have her actions laid bare. I wasn't interested in wasting my energy on revenge. I just wanted to move on and escape as far as possible from the memories and the pain. I had been to Thailand 20 years earlier when I was in the service. I liked the food, weather, and the women, so I decided to begin my new life there. I needed the change. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. Things had to be a lot different there after all these years. I certainly was not the same man. The wounds from too many battles left me tired and scarred. I figured whatever fate awaited me had to be better than the hellish loneliness that I left behind. My name is Arthur Lee Allen. I know what you're thinking. It's not my fault. My mother was a big fan of American Western history, especially gunslingers, hence the name. I kind of liked it. In Thailand, the name would hold no special meaning. Everything would be new there. I would be a stranger in a very strange land. I had nothing to lose. My son, who rarely spoke to me, was about to finish college. The only women I was able to date back in New York were divorced, overweight, bitter, and carrying more baggage than a freight train. At 49, I was in pretty good shape with a touch of gray in my hair. I was often told that I didn't look a day over 35. I certainly wasn't ready to pack it in. Since there wasn't a lot of sex going on for me after the divorce, the gym became my sanctuary. My abs are flat and my muscles hard. I was never much of a ladies' man, shy, I guess. Some ego reinforcement and a chance to regroup were badly needed. I yearned to feel manly again and in control of my life. "You look deep in thought, young man," said the man sitting directly to my right. I hadn't said much to him during the trip. He looked to be about 60-something. His face showed the wisdom of a life hard lived. He seemed to sense my mood. I just left my entire life back in the States. I sure hope I'm doing the right thing. "You'll be fine, son," he said, smiling. "I'm Gary Francis," he said, extending his hand. He had the quiet bearing of a man who knew what he was talking about. "I'm Arthur Lee Allen. Pleased to meet you," I answered, reading his mind. He didn't comment on the name. The old man looked glad for the company. "Glad to meet you, Arthur. I've lived in Thailand 22 years. I have often thought of moving back to the States, but I never will. I will spend my last days in Thailand. I guess you could say I'm a battle-hardened old veteran of the game." I thought of him as the old man in the military sense of using the term to describe a respected commanding officer. "Game? What game?" I said, now intrigued. He looked at me with the patience of a wise and seasoned teacher. The use of the word son drew me to him. For some reason, I trusted him immediately. "You will experience some of the most selfless acts of kindness and generosity imaginable, as well as considerable lies, deceit, and manipulation for the purpose of separating you from your cash. It's the way it is, their way of life. You are about to enter a world of fantasy, son. For them, it's about survival. Pensions and social security are not the rule there. For most Thais, there is no safety net. The object of the game is to survive their world with your wallet, integrity, and pride intact while having as much fun as possible. Many a man has checked his brain at the airport and lived to regret it." He shared with me much of what he had learned. I felt like I should be taking notes. I paid real close attention to his words. I suddenly started to feel overwhelmed and anxious. "You've got to understand that the rules will be different when you leave this plane." "What are the rules?" "Well, to start with, you have never seen so many available beautiful young women. Smile, and they will treat you better than you could ever imagine. Many will try to train you, then exploit you. It can be difficult to sort out what is real. Believe half of what you see and nothing of what you hear. For example, the lady boys are some of the most beautiful women you will see. The Thais call them katois. Ladyboys? Is that like gay? I asked, innocently. More than gay, they are pre-op and post-op transsexuals. Some of them are truly amazing. It's all an illusion. Much of what you think you see will be an illusion. That's just the beginning. The famous Thai smile is both a sword and a shield. It doesn't mean the same thing as a smile back home. If they smile, you smile. It's also your sword and shield. You will learn as you go along. Just remember, don't surrender your power and make yourself happy. It's time in your life to think about your needs. Compromise is okay, but don't sacrifice too much. Stay in control, stay strong. Set limits and see with your eyes and brain, not your little willy. If something doesn't feel correct, it probably isn't. Thai women have no respect for a chicken, so don't allow that to happen. Why would I do that? In Thailand, it's easier than you would think. A guy like you is a ripe target. You want companionship and sex. They want money. You are not the predator in the land of smiles. You're the prey. They will strip your wallet and heart to the bone and laugh at you for being stupid enough to let them. I struggled to absorb all of what he said. One more thing. Feel free to fall in love. That is with a different lady every day. We expats call them LBFMs. What's that? Little brown sex machines, Gary answered, smiling as his mind flashed back to another place and time. Most of the ladies of the night are not wife material. They are prostitutes. Some idiots call them sex workers. If she sells sex for a living, she's a prostitute. If she's been in the game longer than a month or two, forget about it. She's damaged goods. Don't forget that. Treat them with respect, pay them in the morning, and send them on their way. Their jealousy and possessiveness are based on ownership of clients, not love. It looks like affection or love, but that's not what it is. Play with them, as they are most certainly are playing with you. And don't put up with any shit. If she starts to throw things or get violent, put her out. That's how you play the game, son. Is that all I have to look forward to? Don't get me wrong. If you find a so-called good girl, you might find a woman that would make an excellent life companion. Look for them in areas away from where Farang usually go. However, their family and friends will usually have higher priority than you. If you are real lucky, you might find one that thinks more like a girl back home. Ironically, it's their exotic nature that's so appealing. At the same time, it's like dealing with creatures from another planet. Beware, my friend. Many good girls have adopted the tactics of their more unscrupulous sisters. Learn some Thai. If you don't let them know that you understand their conversations, you'll learn a lot. Farang. It means foreigner. Often it is used negatively by Thais. You will never be totally accepted by Thai society. You and I will always be foreigners. Yours odds improve if she is educated and older than 30. The young girls are just too full of themselves. Most of them don't realize they have a short self-life. Just don't look for your dream girl in a go-go bar. Think of them as attractions in an adult Disneyland. A nice place to visit, but you don't want to live there. The working girls are fun. Accept them for what they are. Love him and leave him. One more thing. Remember, the Farang always pays. They know you are richer than them, therefore, they feel no guilt about you picking up the tab. Good luck, son. You're going to need it. Every day will be an adventure. Expect the unexpected. Don't expect the law to offer any protection. The biggest mafia in the country are the police. Thanks, I'll remember what you said. At least my eyes will be open when the plane lands. I owe you. I hope that our paths cross again. I'm sure we'll talk again, he replied. Your advice is greatly appreciated. I don't know if I'm ready for this. He gave me his phone number. I knew I would be calling him, sooner or later. The plane landed, and we set off to follow our individual destinies. As soon as I left the airport, the Bangkok air enveloped me. It was hot and humid. I started sweating immediately. The air smelled of unknown plant life, auto exhaust, Thai spices, and elements I could not identify. It would take me a while before I adjusted to my new home. I bought a condo and settled into my new life. The next several months were a haze of bars and women. Each promised to love me long time as long as I bought them drinks, paid the bar fine, the fee to take a girl out of the bar, and paid them about 2,000 baht, $50 to $60, the next morning. I never forgot that it was all about the money. All of them very happy to see my money. They truly loved my wallet. As soon as I would enter my favorite bar, I would be surrounded by 3 or 4 near-naked women. I was aware that what I truly wanted, I couldn't buy. A very pretty girl told me that she missed every day and she happy for my return. That was strange. I had never seen her before. I met many expats who had been playing the game for years. They were dedicated sex-mongers, commonly called punters. To each his own, I guess. None that I met seemed really happy. They drank a lot and complained about the Thai way of doing things constantly. After a while, It looked like I had traded one kind of hell for another. They seemed to be lonely even with two beautiful girls sitting on their lap. To me, life had to have some meaning greater than mindless hedonistic self-gratification. Sex without love or real intimacy gets old real quick. Every place I went in Soy Cowboy, Nana Plaza, and Pat Pong, I was greeted with, "Hi, handsome man. What your name? You want buy me drink and pay bar find me? Oh, you so big. Where you stay? Let's go your hotel. I love you too much." They were all different, yet the same. I couldn't believe my eyes when I entered my first go-go bar. It was Susie Wong's, I think, in Soy Cowboy. There were at least 40 topless dancers flirting with big-bellied customers from all over the world. Some of them danced, while others shuffled their feet. Many of the men were obnoxious and drunk, and the women were young and sexy. The music was loud and smoke hung heavy in the air. It struck me as a strip club on steroids. Every female in sight was on sale. The dancers wore numbers. All a man had to do was tell them a massin what number he wanted, and the dancer would come to his table to talk business. Most wanted a quick short-time trip to a nearby hotel so they could get back and try it again. The entire place, and the others like it, was a commercial sex machine. If a guy was looking to get laid, he was in the right place. I soon found out that the bar fine was usually around $15, 500 to 600 baht. Following Gary's advice, I fell in love every day with Tip, Noi, Korn, Da, and a number of others whose names I can't remember. They were not like professional sex workers in the States. Most tried to provide a girlfriend experience for a price. Often money would not be mentioned until the next morning. How much I gave a lady was up to me. The usual rate for a long-time visit, one night, was about 2,000 baht, $50 to $60. At least, I got the pleasure of a beautiful, cooperative woman for a couple of hours or a night. I wondered how long I could live on a steady diet of make-believe bullshit. How many guys have spent big bucks at home trying to impress some self-absorbed, spoiled female with his ability to provide and ended up with a peck on the cheek? At least, the hookers I kept company with were honest about their intent. I found them charming, feminine, calculating, and predatory. Nevertheless, I drank too much, stayed up too late, and had too much loveless, meaningless sex. I felt lonely and empty without a woman to call my own. At least, I didn't waste any time thinking about the world I left behind. I woke up one morning with two women in my bed, and I had no idea who they were or how they got there. I realized that I needed more than an endless series of one-night stands. My behavior was out of character. I felt like a dog chasing my own tail. I was sexually drained, yet frustrated. It was the price for becoming a Bangkok warrior, as Gary had put it. Then, my world changed. Lamai came into my life. She was able to read the quiet desperation in my eyes. That ability to sense my need was to cost me dearly later. Lamai was a walking Asian sex machine. I first saw her on the SkyTrain. She was dressed in a business suit which was both very sexy and classy at the same time. She was tall for a Thai, and her skin was lighter due to her Chinese heritage. She was about 5 feet 9 inches in heels. Her short skirt emphasized her long legs. She moved with the grace of a leopard, and her face took my breath away. I couldn't help but smile like a smitten adolescent as my eyes locked onto her. I wanted to run my fingers through her raven black hair which flowed down her back. I was in love. She noticed my gaze and returned my smile. She looked to be an office worker of some kind. She had a class about her that separated her from the Ison peasant girls I had been sleeping with. I found out later that she an office temp. At least, that's what she said. I quickly introduced myself and was relieved that her English was pretty good. I asked if she could meet me somewhere for coffee, dinner, a walk in the park, anything. She said she could meet me at Starbucks on Succumbit Road at 6 p.m. We met and my life took a new turn. Time passed quickly. She was easy to get along with and curious about many things. I told her about my life back in the States and how I hoped to meet someone in Thailand to settle down with. Her eyes seemed to light up when I told her that. I wanted to believe the light in her eyes was showing genuine interest in me and not dollar signs. I like Farong Min. Thai man no good. He butterflies too much, cannot trust, she said, searching my face for a reaction. I need men who want to take care of me, and I take good care of him. I 28 now, getting old. I thought to myself, here we go, the same old bullshit. Old? This woman is a vision, a work of art, I thought to myself. In the States, she would stop traffic and cause old men to have heart attacks. She had no idea of how pretty she actually was. Where I came from, men would pay just to talk with her. In Thailand, she was one of many. She didn't look like she was old to me. Lamai was at that age when women begin to blossom to full womanhood. Her easygoing feminine ways felt like quicksand to me, as I was pulled in deeper and deeper. She told me she had to work 7 days a week sometimes and made only 10,000 baht a month, about $260. From that, she had to pay for rent, food, car fare, and send money to her family in the province. She was raised near the northern city of Chiang Rai. I didn't detect any self-pity, just acceptance of her fate. As she spoke, I couldn't help but feel the need to help her, to give her my protection. I hadn't felt like that in many years. She wasn't a bar girl. I felt safe with her. I decided to try to be Prince Charming. I know, big mistake. I choked back the nagging warnings that Gary had planted in my head, yet they were always there. I proceeded to explore the possibilities with caution. Do you have a boyfriend? No, no boyfriend. I was married before. He no good, drink too much and spend money at casino. He has a minor wife. She calls house sometimes, 'cause big trouble. Then, he beat me and tell me he leaving. I not see him again and cry a lot. I wanted to kick his butt for hurting her. She somehow brought out my protective instincts. I knew what Gary would say if I told him that was falling so hard for Lamai so soon. He would say, "Watch your back, son." She seemed different from the sharks I had been warned about and had associated with in the bars. I wanted to believe she really was different. I decided to proceed with caution. I think you kind and good man. I can read you. You need lady care for you. Many Thais ladies like you very much. I don't care about many Thais ladies. I want you to like me. Why? I think you are beautiful and a nice person too. I'm not so special. Many Thais ladies like me. Maybe, you know like me much when you know me better. I wondered if she was trying to tell me something. I didn't want to think about that. How did you learn English so well? I go to English school and pick up here and there. You think I talk good? Better than most? I was just curious. I knew that frequent contact with Farangs was how bar girls learned basic English. The first time we made love, I fell in love. Her body was firm and soft at the same time. Her skin, like fine Asian silk, was addictive. We started make slow, passionate love. That didn't last long. Soon, we were devouring each other. All of my pain, frustration, and loneliness came pouring out. I never wanted to let her go. Melting into one another, passion and lust overwhelmed me. I couldn't get enough of her. We made love until exhaustion overtook me. The next morning I woke up to her climbing onto my manhood. It was pure sex, just wild sensuality and pleasure. I loved it. Then, she gave me a massage that made me horny again. It scared me to feel that happy and young again. Despite my resolution to control myself, I was becoming more vulnerable by the minute. Weeks and months passed. Lamai was all I ever wanted or needed in a woman. It didn't take long before I wanted her to move in with me. When I mentioned it, she said, maybe soon, and changed the subject. Having all of the advantages and none of the disadvantages of a live-in girlfriend worked for me. There was no rush. I let it drop. Things were fine the way we were. I felt like a king. She was with me almost every evening. She washed my clothes, cooked for me, cleaned my condo, and gave me mind-blowing sex as often as could handle it. She never asked for money, and her favorite expression was, "Up to you." We went to many places together. Lamai was always close by, discreetly touching me in some way. I couldn't believe I was in a relationship that did not require constant compromise or argument. She never once flirted with another man. I enjoyed their envious looks when we were out together. Whenever I took her someplace or bought her a present, she always showed appreciation for my thoughtfulness. I couldn't believe my luck. We took care of each other. I needed to do something to fill my time while Lamai was at work. I found an orphanage not far from where I lived and began to teach English. The kids were fun, and I loved spending time with them. I don't know if I was any good at it, but the kids loved me, and they became important to my existence. I met some dedicated people at the orphanage. There was a young teacher there whose friendly help and pretty face caught my eye. Her name was Thung. I decided not to pursue her. She'd secretly would look at me with inviting eyes, but I was determined to be faithful to Lamai. Thung was the kind of woman that would fully expect the man she had sex with to marry her. She was the definition of a good girl. Temptation to stray was everywhere. In massage parlors, beer bars, and just strolling down the street. I had enough on my plate with Lamai. She didn't leave me with enough energy to deal with other women. When I wasn't teaching, I went to Thai language school. In time, my comprehension became pretty good. My ability to actually speak Thai progressed more slowly. Remembering what Gary had said, I kept my knowledge to myself. It was astounding to hear what Thais said in the presence of Farong. They have this ability to call a Farong the son of soy dog or water buffalo as they smiled in your face. The love for Farong was not nearly equal to their love of Farong money. For some reason, I didn't let Lamai know that I was studying Thai and could understand some of her phone conversations. I needed more time to completely trust her. Her mysterious nature was both exotic and somehow threatening. She often said that Farang who know too much no good. I wondered why she would think that. I knew that all women have their secrets, especially Thai women. I wanted access to those secrets before I could lower my guard. She tended to have trouble accounting for where she'd been and what she had been doing from time to time. I decided to sleep with one eye open, so to speak. I watched and waited for any red flags to appear, hoping none would. Anxiety churned inside me. I was not about to trade one bad domestic situation for another. Time would sort things out. After several months, the haze of lust and infatuation had cleared enough for me to start looking at Lamai objectively. She didn't like me asking too many questions about her life. Sometimes, my efforts led to some serious mood swings and tantrums which passed quickly. I tended to avoid confrontations. My world started to unravel when I decided to ask some hard questions after I concluded things were not quite right. Why have I not met your family, Lamai? They live far, far. Don't worry. We go someday soon. Where did you get the money to buy the gold jewelry you have on your salary? Your phone cost at least 6,000 baht. And where do you disappear to for hours sometimes at night? I call you, but your phone is turned off. What's going on? Why you question me? I love you. Why you make trouble? You not trust me? My questions made her angry and agitated. I didn't understand her reaction. I was sensing doom on the horizon. I know you love me, but please answer my questions. Make me feel better. I need to know. We need to be honest with each other. To me, honesty, trust, and loyalty are very important. I will not put up with lying or any break of my trust. You should know this. I want us to be open with each other. I ask for nothing that I am not willing to give you. Do you understand what I'm saying? It is important for our future that you do. Why Farang always talk of trust and honesty? These things not so important in Thailand. Peace and family, keeping face more important. Farang think too much. I wondered what the hell did that mean? I had the strong feeling that my words and attitude confused her. It was as if she could not comprehend what I was getting at. She could not understand why I was making her lose face through my questions and insistence on the truth, which was extremely important to me. Problems tended to happen whenever the conversation became intense. Our normal ability to communicate became difficult when she didn't want to answer a question or deal with something unpleasant. She would use anger or the pretense of language difficulties to change the subject. I wasn't going to let her get away with it this time. You know, love me. You want to keep me in cage. I need freedom. You not understand me. You only care yourself. She was raising her voice, about to go off. Freedom to do what? I pay the bills and take care of you. What the hell are you talking about? Are you cheating on me? Can I trust you? I wasn't going to take any crap or deception. No, no, no. I know cheat. You are man I love. Only you, sweetheart. I visit my friends sometime. Gold from old boyfriend. He from Sweden, gone back long time. You jealous? No good. Now, I sad. Arthur. You make Lamai very sad. She ran into the bathroom and slammed the door. I could see that the conversation was going nowhere. As usual, her answers didn't satisfy me. I couldn't shake the feeling that she was either lying or not telling me the whole truth. Before I could consider taking the relationship to the next level, I had to find some answers. Looking back, I was compelled to confirm what my gut was already knew. I needed confirmation. When she came out of the bathroom, she was crying. She ran to me and placed her tear-stained face on my chest. I'm not mad now. I love you too much, sweetheart, she said, dropping to her knees. I was determined to get some answers. Okay, I want to meet your friends. Could I do that? She looked concerned for a minute, then she agreed. The next evening, I found myself in a restaurant filled with Thais. I was the only Farang there. Lamai had invited 5 of her friends to join us. 2 were male. I could understand a little of what was being said. I sat there spacing out, listening to the chatter until I heard one of the males, who she said was her cousin, say something to Lamai. When are you going to make your Farang uncle buy house for you? I know like you sleeping with this ugly water buffalo. You can make him pay 500,000 or maybe 1 million baht sat. Then, we can be together. Remember, I am your husband. You stink with the smell of this Farang. My first thought was what? Water buffalo. To be called uncle and water buffalo was a major insult and signaled great disrespect. 1 million baht was close to $30,000. Did I hear what I think I heard? Sin sat is the Thai version of a bride price. In Thailand, the prospective groom was sometimes expected to pay this to show honor to the bride and her family. Some families extorted this money from Farangs because they could. Sometimes, It was given back to the bride as a kind of marriage insurance. It is a practice that doesn't set too well with most Farangs. Thais expect Farangs to accept their culture and couldn't give a crap about theirs. Lamai and I had never seriously spoken of marriage or sin sat. She didn't seem upset by his insults. The scent of betrayal was strong in the air. What was this being together stuff? Husband? My throat tightened with rage, sadness, and pain. Resignation soon followed. I had to accept what I had just heard. I was beginning to feel like an old warrior myself. My world had crashed. Who was this woman? I decided to play the hand out. I wanted to see what would happen next. I controlled the anger building in my heart. I knew revenge was a risky thing in Thailand. There would surely be retaliation from her husband and friends. I needed a plan. However, I was not going to let her get away with her treachery. I thought, how could she do this to me? I wondered what I had done in a past life to deserve this treatment. I treated her like a princess. It appeared that the reason she never pressured me for money was that I was being set up for the big score. I braced myself for the end of my relationship. I tried to wall off my emotions for self-protection. The end was near. I would miss her. I hoped that in her own way, she really did care for me, or did she? She surely didn't define love the way I did. When she used the word, it was hollow, having little or no meaning. I began to wonder if she even liked me. It was hard to believe anybody could be that good of an actress. When the dinner was over, her friends went their way. I heard the man who had been speaking to Lamai earlier say, "Soon you can come back to my bed and leave this stinking big Willy Farong. You should be with me, your husband. Pressure him. Tell him you must be married soon." He smiled at me as he spoke. It was everything I could do to keep from snapping his skinny neck and hers. Lamai laughed at his remarks. She took my arm lovingly as we walked back into the crowded Bangkok street. I had to be patient, but not too patient. I needed time to put my condo up for sale and arrange to move to the northern city of Chiang Mai. After I took my revenge for Lamai's betrayal, I would move far away. Lamai started throwing very strong hints that she wanted me to make an honest woman out of her. When she went to sleep, I searched her purse for the first time. I found 2 phones. One of them had names like Ryan, Nathan, Luke, and Vince stored in it. I resisted the urge to throw the phone out of the window. She had a date book with client names, dates, and hotels. I felt like such a sucker. The times indicated were all between 6 p.m. and 10 o'clock. After work, she was an escort. That's why she never needed to ask me for money. I had to give it to her. "She's good. Sweetheart, do you love me?" she asked in her most vulnerable voice. "Sure, I do. Why do you ask?" The game had begun. "I want us to marry. When I take you to family, I must say that we will marry." "Why?" "I lose big face and family if they know I sleep with you and not marry." I almost laughed in her face. She was using Thai logic on me. What she said was true, even more true when in the provinces. Too bad she was full of crap and already married. I might have been sympathetic. "I think you're right, Lamai. You are a loving, faithful companion. I should marry you. We should marry soon. I want you to be my wife. I will love you forever." "Oh, sweetheart. I'm so happy. I tell family and friends. I want marry in province, so village can come and see my handsome husband. My family will gain much face." She paused for a minute. "You know you give family sinsat. It is Thai tradition. Very important. I know about sinsat. How much?" "I think 1 million baht." She said it as a question. "A million baht. I'm not rich," I said, playing her game. She thought another minute and said, "Okay, 500,000 would be okay." She looked at me with hopeful eyes. "I think I can do that. It's a heavy price, but I want to make you happy." Tears slid down her face. If I didn't know better, I would have sworn her look portrayed genuine gratitude and love. She hugged me for a long time, not speaking. Her arms trembled. The heat of her hands penetrated my back. She was good. "Sweetheart, I not deserve man like you. I must have been very good in past life. Our love very strong. I love you too much," she said as she seductively stripped for me. Testosterone surged through my veins. If I could not have her loyalty, I would take her body, probably for the last time. I felt like I was cursed to love unfaithful women. "I am going to give you some money. I want you to go home and arrange an engagement party. Invite everyone in the village. Buy lots to eat and drink. Hire a band. You know what to do. Go tomorrow. I will join you in 3 days. I will bring sin sat and many baht of gold for all to see when I come to the party. Everyone will be jealous of you. They will know how much I treasure your love and devotion to me." "Devotion? It means being true and loyal," I said, gritting my teeth. Then I took her. not caring about her pleasure, only mine. I did her with anger and lust. Then we rested exhausted in each other's arms, each lost in their own thoughts. She left the next day to set everything up. I rented out my condo and had my possessions shipped to Chiang Mai. On the day of the big party, I called Lamai. Many people will come. Everyone wants to see you, and my sin sought. I want to see you, handsome man. Please hurry. I wait for you every minute. She was very excited. I will be there. Start the party. I will come soon. I love you, bye. I hung up the phone with sadness in my heart. I would never see her again. The loss of face she was about to suffer would be powerful revenge for her betrayal. On the day of the party, there were at least 200 people in attendance. People danced, ate, and drank with abandon. The messenger that I had hired entered the room and went directly to the microphone after whispering something in a band member's ear. He spoke in Thai. Attention, please. I have a message from the man Lamai is supposed to marry. The crowd hushed, a ripple of curiosity spreading through the room. He says he will not be coming tonight. He will not come because Lamai is a lying, cheating woman who doesn't love him. She's already married and planned to divorce her husband after receiving her sin sought and new house. He says his heart is broken and hopes she spends the rest of her life reflecting on what could have been, until she's old and gray. The room fell silent. All eyes turned to Lamai, who stood frozen in shock, her face an unreadable mask before twisting into a mixture of rage, embarrassment, and disbelief. She trembled slightly as if every eye in the room burned into her. That damned Farang tricked me, she hissed to her husband, who sat nearby looking equal parts drunk and disappointed. Meanwhile, I was adjusting well to my new life. Chiang Mai's cooler weather and fresher air made it a welcome change from Bangkok. I found a small orphanage and began teaching English again, something that gave me purpose. If I ever craved female company, it wasn't hard to find. All it took was a stroll through certain parts of town to hear the familiar refrain. Hello, handsome man. Where you from? You want take me hotel for Boom Boom? Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.